everyone. My name is Barb Hickner, and I've asked Jessica Skinner, our behavioral health specialist, to join us today. We have a very special topic we're going to talk about, and that is coping. So can you just tell us, what are coping skills?
Absolutely. In our therapy and in what we do, coping skills are huge because when life gets overwhelming, when things are hard, when things are stressful, when we feel that anxiety, when we feel that depression hitting, a lot of times some of the things that we talk about, and even people just on their own can use coping skills. And what they do is they just help alleviate some of that feeling, some of that stress, some of that overwhelming feeling. You do these things to help take some of that, kind of reduce that intensity of the feeling. And so a lot of times it can be a wide range of things. Every person is different. So coping skills for one person may work really great, but for somebody else, they don't.
Okay, so I know we have a list, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, a list of coping skills, but how would someone know when to use this list, or when to go back to their coping skills?
Sure. So the biggest thing that people need to start to kind of figure out is, what works for them. Some of the times with coping skills, let's say, for example, breathing, we just take some of those big breaths. I work with kiddos a lot. So a lot of times I tell them just take however many big breaths that, however old that they are. So let's say I'm working with a 7-year-old kid. I'm going to try to get them to take 7 big, deep breaths. Now with the adult, if I'm working with somebody who's in their 60s, I'm not going to have you take 60 some breaths, but I'm going to talk with you about really being mindful about your breathing. So when those feelings, when those emotions start to get more intense, we can be going through the day and things are going okay, and then all of a sudden we're kind of starting to feel, again, for example, with that anxiety, we're starting to feel a little more anxious and a little more anxious. When you first start to recognize those signs, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's stress, whether it's anger, when you first start to notice those things, that's that perfect time to start using some of those coping skills. And again, everybody's different. So that's kind of how we start to use them, how we start to look at them, kind of recognize when those feelings are coming in that first kind of initial sign. That's when we want to start to really use them to try to make it a little bit easier.
And so you said everybody is different. So just being their own self-awareness, you help them get through that too, of when and how to use their specific coping skill.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what we start to do, and anybody can do this, anybody, you just have to kind of sit down and think about, what brings you joy? What brings you happiness? What brings you peace? What brings you calm? If that is just sitting by yourself for 5 minutes and taking a break, some of the times we can do that. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes that doesn't help everybody. So really those things in your life that you can think about that do bring you that just sense of like, it's going to be okay. And it kind of brings you back to center. It kind of brings you back and knowing that you can handle kind of whatever situation. So again, for everybody, it's different. There's a lot of different things and a lot of different kind of categories of coping skills and reasons why that you use some. So let's say, again, I know I keep going back to the anxiety example, but let's say, for example, you use a coping skill to distract yourself for a little bit. Okay, you kind of deal with that feeling, you deal with that emotion. But is there a reason? Is there a trigger to that? So there are things that you can use with your coping skills, but there's also different ways to incorporate different things like mindfulness, being really just finding some calm in your life, finding some peace. Let's say you do some meditation. Let's say you do some things like that. So there's so many different things, but you really start to think about and be intentional about taking that time, that what works for you.
Okay, that's awesome. So there is a list out there that you were referring to earlier, and I know it's available. You tell people how they can find it, or what exactly that is, that list we were talking about earlier?
Yeah. Okay. So this list that we've got, it's like 99 coping skills list, and it has 99 different things to do on there. So if you're kind of struggling to think of something, this list is on our website. Barb, you'll probably be able to tell them a little bit better where that is, but start to really look at it and start to just kind of look at different things that you're like, oh, yeah, I kind of do that sometimes. There are things that you probably already do that are coping skills, and you didn't even necessarily realize it. And so once we start to kind of look through that list, kind of pick out, and this is what I always tell clients when we really start to kind of figure this out, pick out 5 to 10 on that list. You're like, okay, I could try that, or yeah, I already do that, and then do it. When that feeling, when that stuff happens, when the stress gets too much, when that anxiety starts to hit, or even maybe that depression, I know it's been cold, we just kind of went through this snowstorm, we've been stuck inside, maybe things are a struggle. Do some of those things, but you got to be intentional. And that's one of the biggest things, especially over, really actually since the new year. Sounds pretty cliche, but like really being intentional about taking care of yourself. And it's not just your physical health, but it's also your mental health. And if we're dealing with feelings and emotions that are hard, that are stressful, that are overwhelming, we've got to do something to change it, and we have to be intentional. And it starts with coping skills. In my opinion, it starts with coping skills and how to alleviate just some of that. And so look through that list and be intentional about trying some of those things. Be intentional about stepping outside of your comfort zone a little bit, because maybe your comfort zone, maybe it's a little stressful.
Great, great. Well, that list can be found on the Family Health Clinic's website, which is familyhconline.com. And we have a whole list of blog posts, so you can even type into the search 99 coping skills, and that will bring it right for you. It'll also be on our Facebook page, so you can access it there too. Jessica,
Perfect. One other quick thing that I wanted to tell you too. One of the fun things that we've been doing, not even necessarily for like coping skills, but that list, like I get this school has been hectic and crazy, and some of the times we've been home, use that list, make your kids like highlight different stuff. So when they say, Mom, I'm bored, or they're saying they don't have something to do, or you want to get them off their tablet, their iPad, get this list out, highlight. There's like, card games, or there's all kinds of stuff on there. Like there's other things just than coping skills. Like use this list, but be creative, because of anything during this time of the year, that's what we've had to figure out, is how to be creative. So use it, abuse it, do what you need to, print it out, like mark them off that you're doing them, all that stuff. But it's such a fantastic resource. And Barb, thank you for being able to put it up there, for helping people know where to get it. Because it really is. It can definitely be, it can be a game changer. I promise. It can be super helpful.
Yes, love it. Love it. Jessica, thank you so much for your time today. Hopefully we'll be back again.
I think that sounds fantastic. Thanks so much, Barb. I appreciate you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, guys.